Okay, so welcome to the first session of Azure Data Engineering using Azure Data Factory and Databricks. Okay, so we'll quickly touch upon some of the um, updates on why this data engineering is become so popular. And first of all, congratulations all of you for taking the first step towards uh, becoming a data engineer and hope you will reach the career aspiration that you're thinking after this attending this session. So we'll quickly talk about some of the recent things happening in and around, and why do you think the data engineering space is growing day by day and there are a lot of opportunities coming up. So we'll quickly touch base on that, and after that we will move to the program highlights in terms of the course content and the duration, etc. Okay, and then we'll have a Q&A question. If you guys have any questions, we can have it at the end. Okay, so please pay attention. So this is going to change your life, right? So you have taken a first step towards changing your decision. Okay, so please pay attention and note it down the questions. If you have anything, we will take a Q&A at the end. Okay, so now quick thing on AI, right? Hope we all know what is artificial intelligence and all, right? Which is stormed in the recent past. Right? It's taking every industry, every individual in a professionally or in a business context. Right? We've been doing a lot of stuff over the period, but last 2 3 years, if you take an account, the everybody talks about, every industry, every business talk about artificial intelligence. Okay, so when I started my career, it was not only we were dealing with the software engineering, and we get the requirements and do stuff and so on and so forth. But if you see, artificial intelligence is shaking that everybody and every industry, every CEO, every C2, everybody talks about that. Okay, why? Because the way business is being run, the way um, communicating with the customer, the way interacting with the consumer have changed recently, right? So if you would have seen the promotional mails or communication you get to your mobile and all, it's a top notch upgraded, right? So how they're coming. For example, if I want to if I want to take a vacation to Goa, right? So and I go to make my trip and I do the search for the flights and all. The moment I come out of that, when I open the browser again, I used to get the recommendations from the other vendors, right? So these are the best deals, these are the discounts, these are the stuff, and so on and so forth. So how does the computer or the browser knows that I am planning to go on a vacation to Goa, right? So these are the some of the recent trends going in the market, and everybody wanted to get the customized customized content and customized market for the consumer, so that they can attract and they can get more business from the consumer. Okay, so AI has a bigger role in this journey. Okay, you would have seen um, um, so many people are talking about AI. Without AI, we cannot run businesses and so on and so forth. Okay, so how that happens? If a decision making, right? Earlier it used to be collecting the data and refining and all that, and it takes days to take a decision. Now we cannot afford to take any decision such a long period. Okay, we need to take the decision immediately. If we don't take, the competitor who is just beside us, he will be moving fast and will be in a back faced. Okay, so now not that to happen. So that is where the decision making, digital transformation, right? I've been maybe my factory or my company using the Excels, getting the data through Excels, and then again consolidating in Excel and then sending to somebody. It's all a manual legacy of way of working things, right? So now the digital transformation and taking everything is in a mobile. If I want to see my sales, being a CEO, I want to see my sales for a particular store or particular city or particular geography or particular country. In a fingertip, I should be able to see that information. That is the power of digital transformation. And of course, it has enhanced productivity, right? The way we operate in a as a anybody like as a factory worker, as a software engineering, as a data analyst, the way they do analysis and all things have changed. So a lot of tools and technologies and AI has a bigger role in that. Okay, now if you see, everywhere is a data, right? The moment you wake up and you go to bed, a lot of data is getting generated by so many places, right? Whether it's a YouTube, whether it's a social media, any other social media platform like Facebook, LinkedIn, or anything, right? Or if you go to office, you do some work, and there is also some data getting generated, right? So everywhere it's a data. Okay, that's where if you see every company is a data company. This statement is a this statement by Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. He says that yes, your core business is something else, but underlying that there is a lot of data you generate and you deal with a lot of data, right? So you cannot ignore that. Maybe I'm manufacturing a bread and butter. Maybe I'm manufacturing a electric vehicles. Maybe I'm manufacturing some automobiles. But that doesn't mean that you don't have a data. You are dealing day in day out. You are dealing a lot of data, whether it's from internal or an external. So in a way, every company is also a data company, right? So nobody doesn't matter if it's the size of the data and etc. But you are sitting on top of a data, and it's your responsibility to get insights out of the data and take actions. Okay, now let's take some examples, right? For example, if I ask you a question, simple question: how Uber makes money? Can somebody answer how Uber makes money? First of all, what do they do? Uber, what do they do? Do they sell anything? Do they give any services? What do they do, and how do they make money? Come on, I need some answers.
They make money by providing the service of the cab, right?
Right. So do they own any cab?
No, they means they get this cabs from a different owners, and they uh, means they use that to provide the service, and using the money they get some commissions, I guess. That's right.
Absolutely, you're right. And anybody else? How Netflix makes money? So they don't have any product to sell, right? And if you log into Netflix, based on your profile, you will get some recommendations saying that people like your profile are watching these web series or watch these movies. So you will get some curated information, right? So how Netflix knows that your profile, and how do they do that recommendation? It's all based on data, right? So they are sitting on top of a huge data collected from the different users. For example, I am aged between 30 to 40, right? So I might be watching some movies or some web series and all. If tomorrow somebody logs with my age, with the same background, right, with the demographic and other backgrounds, then my already watched movies or the web series goes as a recommended to other people. Okay, so that's what called a curated information. So Netflix basically sells the content. Now, content, if I go, if I log into Netflix, there are hundreds of series, hundreds of movies are available. Now I can spend hours and hours to, look into each one and see which one is good, which one not into good, and I can spend time over there. Or Netflix itself recommended me in the curated information, saying that, hey, look, people like your profile as watching this one, are already watched these movies, so I recommend these to watch these movies. Then it's easy for me, right? I need not break my head, I need not waste my time to, browse through all the movies and all the stuff, and to figure it out what to watch and not what to not. Right? So how that happens? How the recommendation engine working? So there is a huge data sitting behind. They collect the data from everybody, and they do a lot of external data, and they curate it, they process the data, and they will sell to you as a curated information. That's easy for, right? You need not you hardly, if you look into anybody, hardly we will get 1 or 2 hours to watch anything. Now if within that 1 or 2 hours, if you just browsing what to watch and what, then you are just wasting our time, right? Similarly, Disney, right? How the streaming happens nowadays, if you would have seen the IPL matches under Disney, they're using the streaming analytics, and they're doing that. So how the streaming happens, right? So there is a that is what these are called data driven business. They sitting on top of a huge pile of data, and they do process the data every day, and uh, and uh, and they serve their customers to get the business. Without data, these guys are zero. For example, McDonald's. So today I live in Hyderabad, or I live in Bangalore, or I will go to Mumbai, right? So based on the weather, based on the other circumstances, they would send me the recommended. Hey, the weather. You would have seen Zomato, right? Zomato, because the weather is good. I think you like biryani, right? The weather is hot. It's a sunny, it's a hot. So I think you need an ice cream, right? So how do they know that? Or if I'm traveling to somewhere, I get that, hey, you're traveling to Hyderabad, why don't you try a good Hyderabad biryani from these stores? So how do they know that I'm going to Hyderabad, right? So there is a huge data they collect, and they process each and every day, and they do process that to give the customized information to the client, right? So if I'm really going to Hyderabad, I need not to waste my time to, okay, where to order, which store to order biryani, or which store to order water, or anything else. I already got that recommendation from Zomato. I can easily click a button and then order. That's it. Zomato takes care rest of the things. Okay, so these are some of the examples I'm trying to give you, so that you understand the breadth and width of the data scope. Right? It's growing everybody. That's why it's called, every company is a data company. You cannot say that I don't have any data, I don't deal with any data, then you will become obsolete. You have to use the data, and you have to get that insights to take the right decision. Right? So I will give you another example. I was working with one of the client during the COVID, right? So what do? They manufacture the day in day out, like all consumer goods, right? Now what happened in during the COVID? All the shops are down, right? The material they're supposed, the raw material they're supposed to get from different countries, the transportation, everything is blocked. No communication is happening. Then what do? Because of that, they can't shut down their factory, and they can't shut down their business, right? That's going to impact a lot. So what do? They have collected data from different countries where there is a less impact on COVID, and they interacted with them, and they collected their data, and what do they do and all, and then we did some processed the data, and we gave them, hey, look, if you go to this country, this is the cost it's going to take. This, if you go to this country, this is the cost it's going to take, right? And based on that information, they have taken a decision, okay, which country they can go, and they can manufacture the products. See, at the end of the day, they have there is a commitment they given to the customer to get the product. Now if because of COVID and all, if you cannot say that consumer that I cannot supply to that, that's going to impact, right? So these are some of the things that are impacting directly or indirectly to the average business. And data, without data, again, I'm repeating, without data it's just nothing. Okay, so now who is behind the scenes, who are the people doing all those things, right? That is where the data engineering come into picture. Now if you see Uber and Netflix or Airbnb, the examples I taken, right? So there is a huge IT team sitting behind the scenes, right? If you take an example of McDonald's, there is a team who makes the burgers and all, and there is a big IT team who process the data and gives the customized recommendation, customized curated information to the customers. Okay, and if you go to any like Uber, go to Uber engineering. There is a Uber engineering website is there. So they have a lot of stuff. Their IT team, what and all they are doing, how they are processing the data. There are plenty of information available. So one side, Uber's business is not Uber is not an IT company, but they have a huge IT systems, and people are data engineering kind of a teams are sitting behind to do this and enhance their businesses and give them, take it to the next level. Okay, so as I said, right, every company is a data company, and the data landscape is going every day. And when you say artificial intelligence, data is the backbone of artificial intelligence. Without data, the intelligence will not work. Okay, simple. For example, see, I've been traveling I've been traveling every month to Hyderabad. For example, let's say that. Okay, now based on my data, what suggestions will I get? Maybe a red bus or maybe some other people. Hey, you've been traveling to do so. I hope you also planning to traveling to next month. So these are the recommendations from me. So how do they know that I'm traveling? Because of my past data. Okay, so that's become a backbone of your prediction. Okay, without the data, I can't predict anything. Without data, I don't know whether this guy is traveled or not. I cannot give a wrong information saying that you traveled in a so and so 4 days and all. Okay, that's where the data and the quality of data is becoming more important. And being to do all the things, data engineering is the sexiest job of 21st century. And I hope you would have had this in many times. Okay, so now uh, so what is the objective we're trying to do, right? So the objective of this training is to make you get into your data engineering using the Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks. Okay, so if you're already working in the industry, you're part of some other streams or wherever you're working, so you wanted to get into the data engineering in a simplest and easiest way by using cloud. Azure, Microsoft is one of the uh, top cloud provider in data space. So we'll be teaching you Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks. What are we talking about, right? How do we process the data? How do we get the data? How my businesses can get the data with multiple internal and external systems, and then how to process and give the insights. All the stuff we are going to discuss as part of this course. Okay, and coming to the highlights of the program, I will quickly run through the highlights just as a reminder for everybody. Okay, so you will get expert instructions definitely. So I've been with this industry more than 10 plus years working in the data space. Okay, and you would also get the real-time project training. So the hands-on, what we're going to do is, so the training format is very simple. So you will be learning the concepts and the fundamentals, and then hands-on with the real-time projects. So I'll be giving you the real-time project challenges so that you will practice the concepts whatever you learned. All right. So it's 100% practical. No, of course there is a theory very less. Okay, I'm not a guy just to walk through, slides and wrap it up. So I wanted to stress on the practicality. Okay, we believe in learning by doing, and otherwise it's a kind of another just learning. We hear from one year and this goes from another year. Okay, we don't want to do that. It's going to be fully practical. Okay, and ensure that you gain that necessary skills when you come out of this training. If you get into any project or any company, so you will be able to do that as independently. So that's our objective. Okay, so daily there will be a and there will be an assignment, and there will be so on and so forth. So there is a challenges will be given to you, so that you will try, and you deal with others. You deal with outside of this training, and you come up with the result. Okay, in the form of assignments and all the quizzes there, and the so on and so forth. Okay, right. As I said, there are weekly quizzes to test your knowledge and to see what you learned through that week, and is there anything that we can help you, or we can guide you in terms of how to take it the next step. Okay, and of course that the last will be sharing the interview questions. Okay, so you will be given the frequently asked questions in all the uh, FANG companies, right? So Amazon, Facebook, Meta, and Google. So all these companies, the frequently asked questions you will be given. Okay, and it's going to be a 2 month course. There are 50 plus live sessions. Okay, every day it's going to be between 1 to 1.5 hours of Monday through Friday. uh, the classes will be there, and Saturday Sunday are off. Okay, and Friday you're going to be, as I said, right, you're going to given the weekly quizzes and the assignments, so that you will practice what you learned in the or the throughout that week. And I will be using that knowledge to practice to answer the quizzes and the assignments during the weekend. And when you come back next week, it's going to be kind of a what we went through the last week, and then the next will be continued in the next week. Okay, and yeah, so it's a guaranteed interview success. Yeah, of course we will give the confidence to crack that interviews through that, so that you will do your best in cracking that interviews, and making your life to the next level. Okay, so the batch timings again, as I said, it's 8 to 9, or 8:30 to 9:30 sometime. Okay, so we will inform you the timings, exact timings when the batch starts. Okay, so there will be three demo classes. So today's is one demo class, and there will be two more demo classes tomorrow and day after. Okay, and then these three classes are completely free for you to give some understanding what's happening, what is the format, what you going to learn, and what value that brings to your profile, all things. Some of the stuff we are going to give you three classes. Okay, so that you can take you can and then after that it's going to be subscription based. Okay, and I will quickly send you the subscription link in the chat. Okay, so after that you can subscribe and attend the live classes. All right, any questions so far?
So, are you gonna teach these things like hands-on? That's fine, but are you gonna talk about this business-related knowledge, which we need to use uh, for doing this project on a technical basis, the business understanding part?
Correct. So business understanding, it's based on the use case, right? So for example, as part of the hands-on, right? So we'll be taking a use case, maybe it be related to retail, or it related to finance, or it related to healthcare, right? So around that, we will be discussing the business terminologies and the functionality about that.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And of course it's going to be interactive, guys. So it's not like, I don't want to do the teacher job again. So it's going to be interact to share our knowledge and bring the best out of you.
And means, do you want to have the SQL basics already to this? Like,
Correct. So I'll quickly come through the course objective. Okay, then, and that's my next agenda, and then again we'll discuss about the questions. Okay. Mm, Okay. So again, right? So the course objective is to make you learn data engineering using Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks, so that you will get an entry to data engineering, and then after that, it's up to you to take it up. There are different tracks and different things are available, and it's going to be a concepts, hands-on, and the real-time scenarios. Okay, this is the format, and it's the duration is 2 months. So in these 2 months, you will get to know the Azure Data Factory introduction. uh, so what is big data and what are the different real-time scenarios available in uh, different industries like finance, retail, travel, and all. And also we will discuss about the Azure Data Factory in more detail. Right? For example, if you don't know what is Azure Data Factory, that is what Microsoft Azure cloud based services. Okay, so the data factory is one such service that brings the data from multiple sources and collates that. Okay, so what is that and how do we do that in the conceptual level? Right, how it gets the information, what are the different services is being used, so all the stuff, how to connect to different sources, all the stuff we are going to discuss as part of this one. Okay, so as I told you, right, when I say Azure Database, there are so many things. What is linked service, data sets, activities, pipelines, triggers, integration runtimes, data flows, everything we are going to cover. Okay, and again, Azure also provides you 30 days free trial in the cloud. Okay, so you will be creating an account with Microsoft Azure with a 30 days of free trial account. Okay, so you are not going to charge anything during the 30 days to practice and learn the cloud. Okay, so the account going to be created for you so that you will practice the quizzes and the assignments given as part of the curriculum. Okay, and we are also going to discuss about the storage. So is anybody already working or knows cloud computing? Can somebody tell me what is cloud computing? It's a quiz, guys. Don't.
it's like, uh, on the on-premise, we have these data centers in place, but all the maintenance should be done by us, right? When it comes to cloud computing, there will be an auto scaling can be provided with respect to the servers and the environment that you are working, and the traffic that is, if there is an uh, like rapid traffic coming up on some days, so the scaling happens automatically, and the auto scaling takes care of that, like the fully manageable services and partially manageable services. That's what the services the cloud provides, as far as I
Absolutely.
know. I'm not sure.
Absolutely. Yes, you're right. So it's basically because of you managing everything, somebody else will manage. Okay. So in somebody else in the case, in this case, Microsoft. Okay. So now what are the different services available? Storage account. As I showed you, right? If you see here, you have a storage account and so on and so forth, right? You see storage account, SQL database, Azure Databricks, Logic apps. So what are these all services? keyword, subscriptions. So all these are managed by Microsoft, and they're giving you access as a service. Okay, so you need not bother. For example, I will tell you. So for example, the same case what Rohit mentioned. If you want to, let's say you are a startup, you are a beginning a startup, and you need a SQL database. Okay, now what you need to do, you need to buy a SQL database server, right, and install the SQL database there, and then you need to work on that, creating whatever you want to do, all right. And you need a DBA. You need a DBA to manage the database, everything, to ensure security, all everything is out there, patching everything is done, right. And upgrades keep coming, you need to buy the license, and you need to keep upgrading your licenses and all. So there is, you need a couple of people to manage this, right. But the same thing over here, I can, with a simple click buttons, okay, within a minute I can buy a database here, right. So that is the difference between on-prem and cloud. Okay, so you can see create. If I do create, within a minute I will be getting a SQL database. Okay, so that's the power of cloud. Okay, so now we'll be discussing those services that are relevant to our data engineering. For example, storage account is the one, right? And we'll be discussing how do we interact with the storage account with Azure Data Factory. And blob is another service. Okay, from the, so we will discuss when we get into storage account, what are the different storage accounts are there. So all the stuff we're going to do that. Okay, and finally Azure SQL database. Okay, so the SQL database is another destination, and we'll be covering the relational database stuff over here. So SQL, as somebody asked, yes, we are going to touch the basics of SQL here. Okay, so then we'll be creating a database our own, we'll be creating tables our own, we'll be creating stored procs, and we will integrate with the the data factory and all other, how these can play an important role in a real-time use case. Okay, so that's about the thing. And then as I mentioned, uh, um, the other services like a keyword, right? So what is keyword, what are alerts, so how they play an important role in this data engineering, and what are their important, we are going to discuss those as well. Finally, change data capture. So what is change data capture, or incremental? What is this change data capture or incremental? Can somebody tell? Have not had so far. What is change data capture and all? Don't worry, if you not had, we will teach you. Okay, so incremental, as I said, incremental is an incremental data, right? For example, my organization has a 100,000 people, right? So that's the whole data. And after that incremental, so maybe every day some people are joining, right? Today maybe 10 people joining, tomorrow 5 people joining, and day after 100 people joining. So I will get this 10 people data, 5 people data, 100 people data as an incremental data. Okay, so the whole 100,000 plus all this is a whole data. Now incremental is that data in a specified time, the data being generated is what called the incremental data. Okay, so we're going to deal with that as well. And of course triggers. So trigger is one of the beautiful concept in Azure data engineering. So for example, I created a pipeline. When the pipeline has to run as per my business standards, maybe it's a weekly, it's a monthly, or it's a yearly, or it's a daily, or it's every for every 1 hour. So all those provisions and the options we'll be discussing. How to schedule a pipeline, and once the pipeline is scheduled, how to track that one, whether it's run or not, whether it's run successfully or not, all those going to discuss as part of these triggers. Okay, and some of the advanced concepts in terms of nesting and the pipeline nesting and master child pipeline. So all this stuff we'll be discussing. Okay. And finally, the JSON data, how to parse JSON data, and you'll be doing some kind of a JSON. Everybody understand JSON, right? Hello, yes, no. Okay. So now we will touch upon JSON files to interact with the JSON file and all. Okay. And finally, the working with GitHub. Okay. So what is GitHub? You will be created an account and you can do your version control and your as a code repository using the GitHub. So that's about Azure Data Factory. Then we will move to data flow integrations, how to do the data transformations and all, right? And some of the SQL basics we are going to cover as well. Okay, and then we'll move to the Azure Databricks. So what is Azure Databricks? How many of you are first time hearing Azure Databricks? Come on, I need some answers. Are you already aware what is Azure Databricks? Or you're hearing first time? Okay, so you'll be learning what is Azure Databricks. So Databricks basically is another company, by the way. Okay, so now what is Azure Databricks and their architecture? What problem are they solving? Right? What are the some of the concepts, main concepts in the Azure Databricks, and the clusters, notebooks, all the stuff we're going to discuss. For example, if you see, this is what my Databricks. So it's a Databricks itself is a different company. Okay, so why? What do they do? Right? What is Databricks? What do they do? And as you can see in my screen, you can data science and engineering. Okay, and you have a notebook, you have a import, transform data, and so on and so forth. You can see here compute data, everything, workspace, workflows. Okay, so all this stuff related to Azure Databricks we are going to learn as well. Okay, so this is about notebooks and utilities, all this stuff related to Databricks to transform the data we are going to learn. Okay, and then how do we integrate with Azure blobs? How do we integrate with, since Azure Databricks is a different company, different component altogether. So how do we integrate with Azure services? Right. For example, Azure Blob is a service. I want to integrate Databricks with Azure Blob storage. Okay, and Key Vault. I want to integrate and interact with Azure Key Vault with using my Databricks, right? And Azure Data Lake Storage. What is Data Lake Storage? Okay, so all these things we are going to discuss, and finally the SQL database that we discussed in the earlier. We are going to integrate with Databricks as well. Okay, how to read and write files from and into a SQL database. So all this stuff we're going to discuss, guys. Okay, so now after completing this one, um, reading and writing Parquet, ORCD, Avro files. As I said, right? What is Parquet? What is ORC? What is Avro? Have you already heard of these file types? If you had, well and good. If you not had, don't worry. We are going to discuss those formats and the benefits of those file types as part of this curriculum, right? And finally, Excel. All right, Excel is a major component in data analysis and data engineering, right? Many businesses are still they are using Excel as their data storage, right? So how do we get those data from an Excel and then write some transformations and get into a different meaningful insights out of that, right? So we'll be discussing about Excel as well. Okay, and then PySpark. Okay, I know many of you would have heard and read about PySpark. This is revolutionizing data engineering. Everybody talks about Spark, Spark, Spark. When you say big data, without Spark, there is no big data exist. Okay, so this is a major uh, portion of your learning, and this is without this you can't even move anything on big data and data engineering. Okay, so we are going to discuss that as a separate topic by Spark introduction and there what is Spark, what is the difference, why we need this Spark, right? What is this suddenly has come into picture, right? What are some of the key features and the benefits and why organizations are leveraging very much, all the stuff we're going to discuss, their architecture, the internals, how internally how things are working, what is their ecosystem, right? And all those things we're going to discuss. All right, so these are all PySpark concepts. Okay, and as I said, we also have a Spark SQL. So how to interact with Spark, how to interact with Spark using Python, and how to interact with Spark using SQL. Everything we're going to discuss. Okay, and when it comes to SQLs, of course, there are so many functions are available. What are these functions, how they can be used in day out of your project deliverables, and when you're writing a logic, we are going to discuss those as well, all these functions. Okay, and finally delta lake. So what is delta lake? Delta Lake is another important framework or concept in the Azure Databricks, right? Many companies are adopting this. Okay, we will discuss that as well. Now, once we're done, how do we integrate with Azure Databricks with Azure Data Factory, right? So these are two different things. This is Data Factory, and this is your Databricks. Now, how these two can be integrated together? Because we wanted to do as a we want to integrate and we want to work as a together. It's not like this go one way, this is in another way. There has to be integration between these two services, right? So that we are going to do that with this session. Okay, and finally once we're done with both of these, there will be resume preparation, and there are some tips and guidelines as part of this course, that resume preparation tips and guidelines based on my experience I'm going to teach you, and also as I said, the frequently asked interview questions will be shared with you. Okay, so that you will thorough with those things. Now you understand the concepts, you have done some hands-on. Now you know what concepts, how it works, when you need to use some feature, when not to use. So you know all the things, and you also be given the interview questions to prepare well, so that you're ready to face the real world challenges. Okay, so that's about this course, and that's about the overall this 2-month program, guys. Any questions?
I have a question regarding the payment. So, what is the process?
Yeah, I just said, please fill up the subscription form. I think it's available in the chart. So the concerned team will keep in touch with you, and they will guide you.
Sure. Thank you.
Any questions, guys? All good?
Uh, Hi, Shyam. Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, we are working on Power BI. As a Power BI developer, we are working.
Mhm.
And so, how it will help to us? I mean, to our future for this Azure data engineering.
Absolutely. That's a very good question. One second. Sorry. Yeah, that's a good question, Sunanda. Let me explain you. Okay, so now what happens in a typical data project, right? So you have a sources, right? You have a source, different sources. Maybe you're getting from Oracle, you're getting from Salesforce, right? And you're
Yeah.
getting from maybe
Offline.
yeah, offline XLS files, CSV files, JSON files. All these are your sources.
Yes.
Okay. So now what will happen? These sources will come to, for example, let's say that you're working for a client. That company had a working in multiple countries, right? So multiple countries, they're working, they're been ordering, they're maintaining different order systems, right? Some of them creating orders in Oracle, some of them creating Salesforce, some of them creating manually in Excels, right? So now your CEO has asked you to give me monthly sales across the countries and the divisions, right? So what you will do, you will get the data from all these people, and then what you do, you will process the data, right? You will process the data. So this is the processing layer. Right. So once the processing over, what you will do is, then you have a Power BI, right? Maybe Power BI, Tableau, or anybody else, right? So what will happen in this process? Sorry. Okay. So what will happen in this process? You will collect the data from everything, and you will run some rules, and you will see whether the data is clean, and run some quality checks, right? And everything, make sure that, and then you will push the data to your SQL database or any other data. I'm just giving an example, okay? And what will happen from here, your Power BI will pick up. Okay, now being a Power BI developer, using this data, you know how to create a charts, how to create a dashboard, how to create a measures, how to create a metrics, everything here, right? This is your known area, right? You don't know anything how this data coming till here. Do you agree? So this area is not known to you. You only know, okay, there is a SQL database and the data is available and somebody takes care of that. And you are just using that, and then you're creating your own reports. But you don't know what's happening, how this data is coming, what are the different people are sources, what are the checks, blah, blah, all the blah, 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 you don't know. Okay.
Yes.
Now, since only you know this, it's not a it's going to enhance you to take back you understand the engineering aspect as well. Okay, so then you will become a full stack data engineer. Just knowing Power BI is not a data engineer. You are just a report developer, that's it. Okay, so now if you know this, now you are a full stack data engineer. engineering plus the reporting side as well. So this will become your full stack engineering stack. You will become a and this is what anybody would expect in the real time when you go to when you show your profile as an engineer, right? This is what anybody would expect. If you just know Power BI and you cannot claim as you're a data engineer. And for the data engineer, the market cap and all, right? The market capitalization as well as the uh, the 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 remuneration part is little high compared to a normal software engineer or a just a report developer. People with 3 years, 4 years of experience, they are in 2025 kind of a bracket. See, I don't want to exaggerate with those numbers and all. You're also part, in this market, and you're also part of that. But I'm just wanted to give you reasonable numbers, right? And the same three people, the same 3 years guy, if you go to Amazon, you'll be paid 50 lakhs also. I'm not saying that, but that doesn't mean that every company will pay you 50 lakh for 3 years of experience. No, but I want to just give you a reasonable. With the 3 to 4 years of experience, you can easily get 20 to 25 being a data engineer. But it's the same thing using a normal software engineering as a C++ or Java or a .NET developer. Nobody would give you. Or if you just know Power BI with 3 years, it's difficult as well. I don't know. But if you have a full stack of entire data engineering, you have higher chances. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any last question before we wind up? All right, cool guys. So please fill the subscription form, which is available in chart. Okay, and the concerned team from the go online training will keep in touch with you, and then you can discuss about the payments and all the stuff. And the tomorrow and day after also we are going to have a demo class, and then after that it's going to be paid classes. Okay, so be in touch with them and make the your formalities ready so that you will be ready for the live classes from next week onwards. Okay, all right, talk to you soon. Have a good day everybody.